you for choosing the news to be informed in Africa and the world. We open this midweek's edition in Ivory Coast, where Guillaume Soro, the former rebel leader running for president in Ivory Coast, was convicted in absentia on Tuesday of embezzlement and sentenced to 20 years in prison. The verdict that lasted only a few hours is likely to exclude him from October's election, when President Alassane Ouattara is due to step down. Prosecutors issued an arrest warrant for Soro in December, just before he planned to return home from Europe to launch his campaign for allegedly plotting a coup against his former ally Ouattara's government and looting public funds. He has denied the charges, which he says are intended to prevent him from challenging Ouattara's preferred successor, Prime Minister Amadou Gon Coulibaly, in the election. In Egypt, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has announced a 3-month extension of a state of emergency throughout the country because of health and security concerns. The state of emergency allows the authorities to take exceptional measures, including the referral of terrorism suspects to state security court, the imposing of curfews, and censoring of newspapers. The decision came as the country battles the coronavirus, which has infected nearly 4,800 people, including a death of 337 people. The number of cases that have recovered stands at 1,236. Cairo imposed a nighttime curfew along with other measures to combat the spread of the virus last month. The country has, however, allowed shops and malls to open daily until 5 p.m. during the holy month of Ramadan. Chad has passed a new anti-terrorism law that abolishes the death penalty for terrorism-related crimes in the West African country, Parliament announced. The new law replaces legislation that was introduced on July 30, 2015, which made acts of terrorism punishable by death. The Justice Minister, Jimette Arabi, who proposed the amendment, said the vote was unanimous and the law will come into force once it is approved by President Idriss Deby, whose party enjoy a majority in Parliament. The change is aimed at harmonizing their laws in line with all the countries of the G5 Sahel group, the minister said. The last execution carried out in Chad was in August 2015, when 10 suspected members of the Islamist group Boko Haram, based in neighboring Nigeria, were shot dead. Libya's UN-recognized government have accused rival military strongman Khalifa Haftar of seeking to stage a new coup after he claimed to have a popular mandate to govern the country. Accused by critics of wanting to install a new military dictatorship, Haftar, who controls swathes of eastern and southern Libya, announced his self-styled army was proud to be mandated with the historic task of leading Libya. He launched an offensive to seize Tripoli on Monday, saying his army had accepted the will of the people. The leader of the Libyan National Army did not make clear, however, if a parliament elected in 2014 and also based in East backed his move. The oil-rich North African nation has been gripped by chaos since the ouster and killing of longtime dictator Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, with rival administrators in the East and West scrambling for power. In addition, the United States of America has surpassed 1 million confirmed COVID-19 cases as countries, including Spain, Russia, and Italy, took tentative steps back towards normal life by preparing to reopen some businesses. Excitement over partial easing of the lockdown affecting more than half of humanity have been tempered by fear of new outbreaks and growing evidence of the economic devastation wreaked by the coronavirus pandemic. The U.S., where millions have lost their jobs, reached another grim milestone as it registered 58,351 deaths, a larger loss of life than recorded by the U.S. military in the Vietnam War. The overall U.S. case load rose to 1,011,877 in a public health disaster that could threaten President Donald Trump's re-election chances. Over to France, Prime Minister Edouard Philippe has outlined his plan to move France out of its coronavirus lockdown from May 11, provided it is safe to do so. France will see a transition period to June 2, during which experts will monitor the effectiveness of the easing. During an hour-long speech at the National Assembly, Mr. Philippe detailed the progressive resumption of schools and colleges, shops and businesses, as well as small museums. Cafes, bars and restaurants, however, will remain closed, along with theaters and cinemas until at least end of May. He also sounded the end of France's two-flight football season. The easing of the lockdown depended on the triple strategy of protection, testing and isolation, Edouard Philippe said. We end today's edition where the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in Myanmar, Yang Yi is stepping down after spending 6 years raising alarm on the atrocities committed against the Rohingya minority, which she has not visited since the Myanmar government refused. Lee said the military's action bore the hallmarks of genocide and accused the civilian government of doing nothing to change things. The Gambia accused Myanmar of genocide against Rohingya and launched a case at the International Court of Justice last November. Unfortunately, Myanmar's leader denied the charges. Yang Yi, on her part, said the country has done nothing to the system of violence and persecution on her citizens living in the same dying circumstance. Lee, in her final report, added that the optimism she had when she started the job 6 years ago has been lost, and she has watched devastation and tragedy since, prompting her from stepping down. On this note, we call it a day. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to DBS Television. Until we meet, do take care and stay safe.